My new work has been released. Welcome everyone to read my work in tomato novel. I hope everyone can enjoy it. Your attention is the driving force behind my writing, and I will strive to tell every story well. Chapter 1. I time traveled. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Yes, when I woke up, I found that I had traveled through time. What a dramatic thing happened to me, but I don't have golden fingers either. What's even more headache-inducing is that I'm wearing a baby, yes, in swaddling clothes. The situation was unsettling, so I started, whimpering. A beautiful woman with a blue collar and a golden hairpin on her head appeared in front of me. She gently picked me up and looked into her eyes. I stopped crying and felt an indescribable sense of security. Is this the power of blood? I also fell asleep unconsciously afterwards. Was it too tiring to pass through? I don't know the exact time, but I slowly woke up and the beautiful lady started breastfeeding me. I have fallen in love with this beautiful lady and she takes good care of me with care. Considering that I am a little baby, I eat and sleep every day, and occasionally listen to some gossip. Gradually, I adapt to the baby's identity. After all, from a social animal to a baby, don't be too happy. I have 2 older brothers here. The older brother is already 5 years old and started studying. The second brother only stands in front of me drooling, and they both come to tease me from time to time. These days pass quickly, and in the blink of an eye, I am about to turn 1 year old. During this time, I have been busy learning to walk. I thought I would easily learn it, but unfortunately, I just can't coordinate my hands and feet, so I have to start over. After falling many times, I finally feel a little better. Slowly, I can walk steadily on my own. I saw the relief on the face of the beautiful woman and the smiles on the faces of my 2 brothers. Time flies, and in the blink of an eye, I will be 5 years old. My 2 brothers are already studying, and over the past few years, I have learned a lot of information. It turned out that my father is a doctoral student in the Imperial Academy, and the living conditions at home are not difficult. The demand for knowledge is high. The beautiful lady asked me to prepare in the next few days, and the family is planning to ask my master to teach me how to study. After thinking for a few days, I told my mother my thoughts, and without saying a word, she took me up the mountain. So I recognized my master on the mountain and began my cultivation. My master's name is Qi Fei, and my master's mother's name is Jiangnan. Uncle Fei feels that he knows everything. He is proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting, especially martial arts. I came to the mountain mainly to learn martial arts and experience the charm of martial arts. On the day of my apprenticeship, my master told me to defeat him in order to officially descend the mountain. This is his rule. I agreed, so I began my long cultivation. Starting from basic skills, I practiced for 3 years, during which I also had to learn piano, chess, calligraphy, and painting. I could only sleep for 3 hours a day, and I was afraid that if this continued, I would grow into a short winter melon. However, to my surprise, at the age of 8, I was almost at the height of Aunt Juan's chest, possibly due to martial arts practice. Spring has passed and autumn has arrived. 2 more years have passed, and I have just turned 10. My master and mother have decided to temporarily give me a few days off, and I will let them stay for a few days. I seriously suspect that they don't want me to disturb them, so I obediently went down the mountain. After finally rushing home, I found out that my family was empty. After inquiring for a long time, I found out that my father had been promoted and my family had moved to the capital. Although I also want to go to the capital to see it, but the journey is long and I am short of money for too long. I probably have to be called back by my master before I arrive in the capital. So I inquired about the bustling county towns nearby and chose Yaoqing from Luqing, Huaqing, and Yaoqing. I just felt destined. I spent my last bit of money, bought a horse in Dongsha, and started going out to play. Chapter 2. Initial experience of descending the mountain. You are listening at Novel Full. Audio. Yaoqing is not far from Anxian County. I arrived in a hurry. The city is very busy. There are many vendors, including bingtanghulu and jewelry. I haven't seen a lively scene for a long time. I didn't stay for too long, so I found one. How you li? Staying at the inn was a bit tiring on the way, so I took a nap and faintly heard a man downstairs saying to the inn owner, "Boss, prepare 2 high-quality wing rooms." The innkeeper said, "This guest, there's not a single top-quality room left, only a regular room. What do you think?" The man said, "I see you're all intentionally going back and forth with so many inns, either saying they don't have any rooms or saying they don't have top-quality rooms. If I can't stay in a top-quality room today, then you won't be able to do business in this store today." The innkeeper said, "Sir, you misunderstood. There will be a lantern festival in the city tomorrow, and inns of all sizes are almost full. Today, there are only 2 rooms left, one of which has already been booked by a girl, and that's all. Why don't you two stay in one of these rooms?" Another man spoke up and said, "Okay, this is it." The innkeeper said, "Turn left upstairs in the second room. Shouldn't Xiao Lu hurry up and greet you?" There was no sound coming from behind, only the sound of 3 people going upstairs. One of them had martial arts skills and entered the room next to me. I started to gather my energy. At the time of bidding, I began to go downstairs, ate a bowl of wonton in the street, and after filling my stomach, I began to think about silver. It's really hard for a penny to defeat a hero. Immediately after, I took steps to prepare for entering the Xiaoyao building, but as soon as I was about to enter, I was stopped by someone. The big brother at the door said angrily, "We can't all enter here." So I ran away in a disheartened manner. I went into a ready-to-wear store and bought a set of coarse men's clothing. I used a wooden hairpin to tie a man's hairstyle and successfully entered the Xiaoyao building. I started making small bets. With my amazing ear power, I could tell the number of dice through my voice. I won 1.50 taels of silver, and I would occasionally lose 1 or 2 rounds out of 10. Do I understand the rules? I'll stop when it's good. With the silver in hand, I went to the drunken immortal residence to buy a pot of fine wine, and went to the jewelry store to buy some jewelry, ready to give it to the master's wife. As I was about to return to the inn, I heard a trembling voice and my intuition told me not to approach, but I couldn't resist my curiosity. I went over to take a glance and saw a big uncle and a boy who looked even smaller than me being surrounded by a group of people. The uncle seemed to have good military strength, but couldn't help but he had to face a group of experts and gradually found it difficult to protect the boys around him. So, I secretly attacked the group of black-clothed people with lightning speed, giving them some gifts. Strong overpowering drug. "Uncle, you guys are okay now? Hurry up and leave here," the uncle said in surprise. "Thank you for saving me, young hero." The boy next to him also spoke, "Thank you, young hero." I heard the familiar voices of the two and remembered that these were the 2 people from the inn during the day. So I prepared to hide my achievements and fame. Just as I was about to leave, the young master fainted and the uncle was a bit flustered. I leaned forward and took a sniff, calmed my pulse, and said, "It's okay, it's just a little scared. Hurry up and leave here." Uncle left with the young master on his back, and I circled around the street before returning. Inn. I feel that this place is not suitable for staying for a long time. In such a distant city from the capital, so many extraordinary characters can appear. My master has also warned me not to wade in muddy waters outside. Stop thinking and prepare to leave the city at dawn tomorrow. Just as I was about to lie down and go to bed, I heard a group of subtle footsteps, about 20 people, which even those who knew martial arts could not hear. It looked like well-trained. I suddenly thought of isolating the 2 of them. It's not good. I went through muddy water and calculated to save people until the end. I covered my face with a handkerchief and walked towards the isolation room. As I pushed open the door of the next room, my uncle's sword stabbed me. I quickly dodged and pulled down the handkerchief. Uncle, it's me. Many people outside have come to find me. My eyes flashed with surprise and I asked, how did you appear here? I said, I originally lived next door to you. My uncle said, our next door store said there was a girl living there, maybe you were a girl. The situation was urgent, and I didn't care about it. I replied, of course, but now is not the time to say these things. We may not be able to deal with those people. The uncle firmly said, I'll stay, you take the young master away. I glanced at the young master lying in bed and said, okay. Uncle said, young Xia, today's great kindness is unforgettable. If there is still a chance, I, Chen Dezhong, will definitely repay you. Under Uncle Chen Dezhong's firm gaze, I left with the young master behind my back. There was a huge gap in strength between the two sides, and I did not choose to stay. It was not easy to keep this young master. Night curfew, we can't leave the city gate. I can only secretly hide him in a dilapidated temple in the city. He hasn't woken up yet, so I took off his clothes and changed him into a beggar's suit. It turned out that the suit was too conspicuous, and I quickly changed into a beggar's suit. His head and face were covered in dirty mud, and he was the same. He didn't even dare to wear shoes. Just need to endure today, I prayed, and I stayed by his side before he woke up. The cold wind of December howled, and it seemed that it might snow tonight. I curled up in the corner and looked at him. Up close, I saw that this young man was extremely beautiful. Although his facial features had not yet grown, I could vaguely glimpse his appearance. His thoughts were myriad, and I could vaguely see him move his finger. Chapter 3. Returning to the mountain and breaking through the fourth layer. You are listening at novelfull.audio. He opened his eyes in confusion and looked at me, saying, where is this and what happened? I replied, Uncle Chen stayed at the inn to cover us. You woke up just in time, pack up and prepare to leave the city. There was an emotion in his eyes that I couldn't see clearly. He suddenly spoke up and said, my name is Ouyang Jin. I replied, oh, my name is Yu. Let's leave here. Unexpectedly, everything went smoothly without being stopped. The two of us left the city gate. Out of a good heart, I asked, Ouyang Jin, where are you going? Do you need me to go with you? Ouyang Jin said, thank you very much. The future is uncertain, so there is no need for young Xia to worry. Jin can go alone. After that, he prepared to give me the jade pendant that accompanied him. I replied, this item is valuable and I cannot accept it. I need to be more careful on the way forward. I will take a step ahead. So, under his departing gaze, I left quickly and prepared to return to the mountain. Light and simple, it took 2 full days to reach the mountain. My master and teacher are already waiting for me. Qin Wan said, Hanji, let Aunt Wan take a look. When she saw me, she said, look, Hanji, who hasn't seen me for just a few days, has lost weight. How's this trip home? I said wrongly, you know, Aunt Wan's family has moved out, but my parents didn't take a leave of absence and only met me, which made my trip in vain. Qin Wan was surprised and said, you moved out. It seems like you've moved to the capital, but I forgot to tell you. Look at my memory. She then said, Hanji, what do you want to eat today? Aunt Wan will make it for you. What, let me try Hanji's skills first. In an instant, there was only one of the two standing inside the room. I had already left the room and went to the bamboo forest to compete with my master. With 1 or 2 moves, I was defeated within 20 moves. Qi Fei said, I haven't seen you for a few days, but my martial arts skills haven't improved at all. I'll punish you for not eating today. The Mahayana technique taught by my master has stuck me in the 4th level for half a year, so I haven't made much progress in the past 6 months. I began to meditate, recalling what had happened in the past few days. Suddenly, a spiritual light appeared, and I picked up my sword and began to wave it. In the hour of evening, Qi Fei walked into the bamboo forest and saw that half of the bamboo had fallen. He then said, "Not bad, it seems that there will be something to be gained from this trip down the mountain. Come back to Iwanting to find me when you have a rest." I obediently followed suit. Although the mountain is large, due to the fact that only the master and mother used to live there, there was originally only one room in the house. The room I am currently living in was specially built by the master and her mother, and there is no room adjacent to them. It is close to the Iwan pavilion and the bamboo forest. Opening the door, the room was decorated simply without the bed, with only one table and one chair. I simply washed up and went to sleep. At Chenshi, I obediently arrived at the Iwan pavilion and flew together, saying, "Today I will test you for music, chess, calligraphy, and painting." So I started my exam. After the test ended, Qi Fei said, "Let's get ready for lunch." Although it was a test each time, the master never commented on any aspect of me except for martial arts. Perhaps the master felt that there was no need to evaluate me, after all, my chess, calligraphy, and painting were taught by the master hand. Occasionally, I would also learn medical knowledge and embroidery from the master's mother. When I had free time, I would cook meals. The master's mother also seemed to like the dishes I made. In the blink of an eye, another 3 years passed, and my master would occasionally send me a family divorce certificate. I would also reply when I had time. To be honest, I still miss my beautiful mother, my cheap father, and my 2 brothers a bit. A while ago, my master also told me that I can go down the mountain during the Chinese New Year and holidays, but to truly go down the mountain, I must defeat him. So during festivals, I would also go down the mountain to seek inspiration. During the Chinese New Year, I would accompany my master and mother on the mountain. The reason why I didn't go home was the journey to the capital is far away, and the situation between the western regions and the Liao Kingdom is unclear now, so it's not advisable to travel far away. Chapter 4. Good Jiangnan. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The gentle spring breeze, willows leaning against each other, small bridges flowing, and smoke from cooking, this is the spring scenery of Jiangnan. As usual, I disguised myself as a man and went to the gambling house for a walk. When I returned, I set up a shop that also had a yard. There were 2 rooms in the back, one for stacking miscellaneous items and the other for me. With some furniture added, I had my own place to settle down the mountain. The next day, I went to Renyatsi and picked out 4 smart-looking servants. My elegant house was all open, and literati were the most elegant things. My master never evaluated my chess, calligraphy, and painting, so I invited someone to evaluate me. I handed over all the management of the store to Mei, Lan, Zhu, and Zhu. The shop sold Qin, calligraphy and painting, pen, ink, paper, and inkstone. Qin, and calligraphy and painting were provided by me. Lan provided channels and selection for pen, ink, paper, and inkstone, and Zhu were responsible for selling them. I asked them to work with me by investing in shares. At the end of the year, there were also some shares for them to work with me. They are responsible for their own profits and losses, so they all feel like they have been beaten with chicken blood. They are in charge of the store, so I don't need to worry about anything. So I often appear on the streets, today on West Street and tomorrow on North Street. The streets are bustling, and I often appear in art houses. Most of the people here are young women, and there are also a few men who perform, play, sing, and dance here. Among them, the top performer is Miss Lulu, who excels in playing, singing, and dancing. Selling art here is not selling oneself, but there are not many people who dare to cause trouble, which shows the power behind this. When I arrived at Yash, someone immediately greeted me and said, "Shengongzi, you're here again. Are you still sitting in your old seat today?" Yash seat is divided into 2 floors, with an elegant room on the 2nd floor and no compartments on the 1st floor. I usually go up to the elegant room on the 2nd floor, which has a wide view and is relatively quiet. I said, "It's still the same as before," and then I went to the elegant room. Mainyang said, "Today Lulu is dancing the drum dance, and Shengongzi has good eyesight." I said, "Oh. Is that right?" Mainyang said, "That's not it, you can watch." After that, I saw that the plates and drums were already arranged on the ground on the stage, with varying numbers of plates and drums. Lulu was high and soft on the plates and drums, floating and kneeling, dancing rhythmically, performing various dance techniques, and the dance was vivid and lively, beautiful and agile, making it hard to move her eyes. After a dance, the audience applauded incessantly. I'm happy to call out. "Amazing, it's really amazing," I said and gave a reward of 50 taels before leaving. "Every time I come here, I just want to watch the willow dance, and I won't stay much else." After staying like this for more than half a month, I was ready to return to the mountain. It had been too long since I came out, and I was afraid my master would blame me. So I explained a few words to Mei before going up the mountain again. Returning to the mountain, I began my cultivation life again. I have reached the 6th level of the Mahayana technique and can now pass 50 moves under my master's command. Swordsmanship and internal skills are not something that ordinary martial artists can surpass. Of course, I have not given up learning other skills, and it is always useful to settle down and make a living. This time when I returned to the mountain, my master was even more focused on my devil cultivation. In addition to practicing the Mahayana technique, I also had to practice the cold ice technique during this period. Qi Fei said, "This cold ice is definitely used to refine mental skills, so your swordsmanship needs more practice." "Don't forget your original intention," I said, "following my master's teachings, I understand." I began my long cultivation once again. Cycle after cycle, for another 2 years, suddenly news came from the capital that I needed to go home, bid farewell to my master in a hurry, and then I went down the mountain. Chapter 5. Letters from Central Beijing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A year of beautiful scenery must be remembered, especially when it is orange-yellow and orange-green. The autumn wind is bleak, but it is not desolate at all, nor lonely at all, especially when receiving letters from autumn in the capital. Hanji personally said, "Hanji, the weather has been cool recently. Remember to add clothes. Dad knows that you have always been knowledgeable and courteous. Recently, there have been rumors circulating in Beijing about your weak and sickly body. Dad hopes that Hanji will return soon." When I received the letter, I was puzzled. After all, since I left home, my family has been using the excuse that my daughter was born short and has been recuperating at home, making me refuse to see guests. Is it because something happened at home and I can't say it clearly? In this case, I need to hurry home. Arriving at the door of my master and mother's room, I said, "Master and mother, I have received a letter from my family hoping that I will return home soon. May I know if my master will agree?" "Master, yes, let's go down the mountain with Xingluo." I said, "I obey your orders, thank you, master. Xingluo is my master's sword and I never leave it. I don't know why it's so bad today. Let's go down the mountain first." In recent years, I have occasionally gone to the gambling house at the foot of the mountain to play the autumn breeze and have also saved a lot of silver, which happens to come in handy at such times. Light and simple, I bought a good horse and started my journey back to Beijing. Along the way, I have to pass through dozens of county towns of all sizes, one of which must pass through a remote city. I chose this road because it has many official roads, so I don't have to worry about the risk of being robbed along the way. After a day's hard work, I still rested in Yaocheng and stayed at Haoyue Inn. It was even the same room, but things have changed. I don't know if those 2 people from back then are still here. Yaocheng is still very lively as usual. I heard there will be a harvest festival tonight with a song and dance performance to celebrate. Since you're here, let's take a look. As the crowd moved, a woman was seen dancing gracefully in Zhoushan in the distance, her boat swaying. However, the dance and singing of the dancer did not affect her, as if a goddess had descended, making it hard to move her eyes. It's really addictive. After the dance, I left, and the next day before it was fully lit, I continued on my journey. After nearly half a month of driving, I finally arrived in the capital. The capital city is different from any other county. It has its own prosperity, with spacious streets and bustling crowds. Even merchants from the western regions and the Jin dynasty can be seen buying and selling here. The capital city is truly rich and charming. Through inquiry, my father has been promoted to the position of Minister of Revenue, and soon I arrived at the Shangshu prefecture. How can I take the main entrance to my home? Of course, I have to climb over the wall. Just as I was about to climb over the wall, I saw a man already jumping off the wall and landing lightly. He returned to me and said, Are you going to climb over the wall too? I saw that you should be careful not to fall with your thin arms and legs. Do you want me to guide you? I said, Oh. Sure, I dare ask this brother where the trick to climb over the wall is. The man replied, It's good to eat and drink, but of course, I won't tell ordinary people this key trick. You can help me. I leaned towards his cheek and found that his face was 3 times similar to his mother's, so he became my brother. Shen Haoshuan said, The trick is that I know martial arts. Shoo, don't tell anyone. I'll leave first. I said, Okay. Then I climbed over the wall and rushed into the Shangshu mansion. I saw a woman wearing a light blue long robe and a lotus-colored 100-fold skirt, wearing an agate walk. There were 5 or 6 maidservants dressed up next to her feeding fish by the lake. When I approached, I saw that I was 7 points similar to this woman, who should be my mother. However, there was a worry in her eyes that ordinary people couldn't see. Perhaps it had been a long time since I saw her, but I was momentarily timid and stunned by the feeling of being close to my hometown. It could also be that my gaze was too hot, and she suddenly turned her head to see me. Then, I didn't know what she said, and the maids all retreated, leaving her alone by the lake. She looked excited as she walked briskly and the shooting star hugged me, saying, My child. Her tears wet my clothes. Chapter 6. Family Reunion. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Mother, I miss you. Mother said, My son has grown up so much. For so many years, my mother has been thinking about you all the time. But knowing that you are doing well, my mother is satisfied. Will you come back home to stay, or will you go back to the mountain? Her eyes were filled with tears as she looked at me. I replied, I will stay home this time and be with you. We haven't had a chance to meet your father and 2 brothers yet. Let's go to the hall to see your father first. The mother turned to say, Little Chui, go notify the 2 young masters and say that the young lady is back. Little Chui quickly appeared and replied, Madam, Miss, hello. I will go now. The lobby was bustling with activity, and the father in the hall had more white hair on his temples and an imperceptible sadness in his eyes. The big brother, wearing a white crescent robe, looked at me with a smiling face, even more dazzling than the stars in the sky. Shen Yi, father. Shen Haoshuan, this scoundrel, has run out to hang out again. Then he said, Han Ji, when you come back, it's good. You all go out, I have something to talk to Han Ji about. He then chatted with me for a long time. The next day, the streets and alleys are bustling with activity. Today, what interests everyone the most is who will be the leader of the Zanhua conference in 3 days. The restaurant was bustling with people coming and going, and one of them loudly said, the leader should naturally be Xie Qingcheng, the daughter of Grand Tutor Xie. The people below began to whisper. Someone said, I don't think so. Although the daughter of Grand Tutor Xie ranks 2nd every year, Princess Kuei, who used to be the head of the imperial court, is already pregnant and unable to participate. In my opinion, it should be Miss Yi from the Miaoyu Pavilion. Next, someone started whispering and someone turned to say, the busiest place in the capital recently is undoubtedly the Shangshu. Shen Shangshu is loved by the emperor and has been promoted from a remote county to the position of Shangshu. He is pregnant with 2 sons and a daughter, and the eldest son is dignified and talented. One of the 4 young masters in the capital, these 2 young masters are ignorant and incompetent, while the youngest daughter is a sick seedling. Indeed, the old lord is fair. Someone whispered, "It cannot be discussed privately," and the chaos gradually calmed down. 3 days later, the Hairpin Festival can also be considered a bustling day in the capital city. The Hairpin Festival of the Liao dynasty was first established by the founding Emperor Gaozu to select talented women. The initial projects included Qiang, chess, calligraphy and painting, as well as the 6 arts. Ritual, music, archery, imperial, calligraphy, and mathematics. However, due to the difficulty in learning the 6 arts, the Hairpin Festival now only has 4 projects. Qiang, chess, calligraphy and painting, all of which are the best to win the top spot. The person who wins the top spot can receive a plaque bestowed by the emperor, which can shine on the lintel. The Hairpin Festival is about to begin, with not only ordinary commoners, daughters of officials, but also royal and noble families. At the meeting, there was a constant stream of noise, and then an inconspicuous carriage caught the eye. Everyone was shocked, who would have missed the time on such an important day. Immediately after, a young woman wearing a white luo kun and a white hat got off the carriage, looking like a weak willow supporting the wind and exuding a fairy-like aura. Everyone was speculating whose daughter this was. At that moment, the host announced the official start of the Hairpin Festival. The Hairpin Festival is led by the Qiang test, and both Qiang and Qiang skills are indispensable. Everyone will spend money to buy a good Qiang. Among them, there are the most complete musical instruments in Yash, among which are iced soul musical instruments, jade musical instruments and wutong musical instruments, which are the most expensive musical instruments list. The Qiang test began, and the first person to start was Xie Qingqing, the daughter of Xie Taifu. She was preparing to play the Qiang and said, "It's a jade Qiang." Xie Qingqing's heart was playing it with great success, and the flowing wine cup caused the eldest and 3rd princes to exclaim in surprise, clapping their hands and cheering. After the song was finished, everyone discussed it. Among them, the son of the 6th prince, Ouyang Shaogong, smiled and said, "Once this song is played, I'm afraid it will be overshadowed later on." Sure enough, none of the others behind Xie Qingqing were more outstanding. At this moment, Xie Qingqing's maid Fuling said, "Miss, you must have been stable in this Qiang test. You see, the eldest and 3rd princes are so supportive of you in this competition. The leader of this year's Zanhua festival must be Miss," Xie Qingqing said, "so what about the leader? It's not just for Bo Jin's brother to smile, but unfortunately Jin didn't come today. Surprisingly, the leader of Chapter 7 is her." You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The leader called the next girl, and saw that girl played a melody of high mountains and flowing water. The sound of the piano was melodious. After the melody, the sound was still lingering. The eldest prince said, "This girl is really a wonderful person." Fuling said after hearing it, "It's just because of the wudong zither. It's not better than a young lady. It's just a playwright who can't get on the stage." Xie Qingqing flashed into his eyes and said angrily, "Okay, you can judge where the turn is." The steward called out to the next daughter of the Shangshu mansion, Shenhanji. There was much discussion on stage, but Shenhanji brought a wooden Qiang to the stage. However, the tail of the wooden Qiang was burnt for some reason. Fuling then said, "This daughter of the Shangshu mansion really can't stand the stage. Even if she wears a curtain, she still carries a burnt Qiang." Xie Qingqing's eyes flickered with disdain and he said, "They are just insignificant people." Then I heard Shenhanji play Guangling San, which was passionate and inspiring. After the song was finished, it could not be calmed down for a long time. After a while, suddenly the audience shouted loudly, "Wow, it's really amazing." After the Qiang test, there is a chess competition where 2 players draw lots to play. The winner of the two can continue the game. Fuling said, I'm starting to look forward to Miss playing, but I don't know who would be so unlucky to collide with Miss in the first game. Xie Qingqing was full of confidence, because among the 4 skills, Xie Qingqing was most proud of his chess skills. Even the princess, the leader of the previous Zanhua conference, only won half of them. I only heard the steward shout to the first round of chess. Xie Qingqing versus Shen Hanji, and there was much discussion in the audience. Ouyang Xiaogong mocked and said, is there any need to compare Shen Hanji? If I were Shen Hanji, I wouldn't compare. After all, if I were to lose half a pillar of incense in less than time, I wouldn't dare to leave the door randomly. The competition on the field quickly began, with Shen Hanji wearing a curtain and holding the white one, and Xie Qingqing holding the black one. No one could see the expression on Shen Hanji's face now. The black and white ones intertwined, and a big battle began. However, the battle ended in less than half a burning incense, and it ended with Shen Hanji's victory. Shen Hanji said, I've accepted it. Xie Qingqing's face was full of embarrassment, but suddenly tears rolled in his eyes and he began to cry. Ouyang Xiaogong, the audience member, said, Shen Hanji has done everything in his power to embarrass Qingqing in front of so many people. She has a great fruit to eat. However, a chess enthusiast master, on stage said, amazing, it's really amazing. If it weren't for this white man's concession, this black man wouldn't have been able to hold half a pillar of incense and would have been completely consumed. May I ask if Miss Shen still accepts apprentices? Shen Hanji said, Sir, you're always joking. My chess skills don't catch my eye, especially the eyes of the crown prince. The chess-crazy master then didn't speak and thought to himself, only that person back then could compete with this chess skill. Is it impossible? Suddenly, he extinguished a little thought that had ignited in his heart. Due to personal reasons of Shen Hanji, the entire chess competition quickly came to an end. In the match against Shen Hanji, less than half a pillar of incense was lost, and the progress accelerated significantly. In the end, the game ended in Shen Hanji's victory. Calligraphy and painting. Calligraphy not only emphasizes calligraphy, but also emphasizes improvised poetry and painting. Fuling said, I don't believe Miss Shen will always be so lucky. Miss Shen's calligraphy and painting are even praised by the emperor. Xie Qingqing's eyes flashed with a hint of pride. The steward announced that the calligraphy and painting competition had begun, and everyone had a column of incense to answer. Everyone picked up their pens, but Shen Hanji did not start writing. There were discussions in the audience, and Ouyang Xiaogong said, I don't even know how to write. The granddaughter of the Shen family, speaking it out is really laughable. As time passed, only half a pillar of incense was left. Suddenly, Shen Hanji began to write, but surprisingly, she used her left hand. The incense went out, and, when time came, everyone put down their pens. The steward collected each person's calligraphy and painting works, and then unified them for expert evaluation. The evaluation of calligraphy and painting works has ended. Class A, Xie Qingqing, EE, Ling Ruoshi. Class B, Jiang Zhenju, Red Calyx, Blue Yin. Fuling said, Miss, I'll just say that Xie Qingqing is just lucky. He probably won't even be able to draw, and won't even get a second grade. Xie Qingqing happily said, alright, not everyone is proficient in music, chess, calligraphy, and painting. Fuling then said, you're not even the leader of this Zanhua conference. Suddenly, the steward announced, Shen Hanji, the daughter of the Shangshu mansion, is the leader of this Zanhua conference. Xie Qingqing's face changed greatly. Ouyang Xiaogong said, it's impossible. Is there a dark curtain? Shen Hanji's calligraphy and painting didn't even get a second grade in the 2 tests, so why is he the leader? The manager said, Miss Shen's calligraphy and painting are unparalleled, and all experts are not denying it. Her works are far superior to other first-class works. Ouyang Xiaogong once again spoke aggressively, I don't believe it, unless you show it to everyone. The audience began to agree, yes, take it out and let everyone taste it together. The steward went down for a while and suddenly said, "This is Miss Shen's painting. Everyone, please take a look." What caught the eye was a vivid picture of the spring scenery in Jiangnan, with willows swaying and flowing water flowing far and wide. The characters in the painting were vivid, as if they were on paper. In the past, one could see the merchants in Jiangnan and the daily lives of the people there. In the upper left corner, the hairpin flower script reads, "Jiangnan is beautiful, the scenery was once familiar, the river flowers are red than fire at sunrise, and the river water is as green as blue in spring. Can you forget Jiangnan?" Silent, after a while, someone in the audience said that this painting was very similar to Mr. Xi's painting style, but Mr. Xi's painting was more bold and vivid. Upon hearing Mr. Xi, the third prince couldn't help but say, "Not everyone is qualified to compete with Mr. Xi," and then his eyes flashed with disdain. The hairpin festival has come to an end, and the news of Shen Hanji winning the championship has spread throughout the streets and alleys. Chapter 8. I will find everything you want for you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Zhuixing Tower is the tallest attic in the capital, providing a panoramic view of the entire city. After the Zanhua conference, a man from the star-picking tower said, "Go investigate this Shen Hanji." After the hairpin festival, the threshold of the Shen mansion was about to be broken by the matchmaker. "Madam Shen. I don't know if it's a good thing," Shen Lingji said. "It depends on my younger sister's intentions. If she doesn't want to marry, I, as the eldest brother, will keep raising her." After hearing this, I said, "Thank you for not abandoning me, my mother. My daughter doesn't have anyone in her heart who wants to marry now." At this moment, a servant came to report, saying, "Madam, young master, miss, there are people from the palace outside who are coming to deliver the emperor's bestowed plaque." Madam Shen said calmly, "Hanji, let's go and have a look at the feather." After that, she saw the plaque that read, "Show in wisdom." The father.in.law began to proclaim, "Following the will of heaven, the emperor will make an appointment." Shen Hanji, the daughter of Shen Yi, is very clever in ice and snow. She specially bestowed a plaque to show her gratitude. I said, "Obey the order, thank you for your holy grace." Shen Lingji smiled lightly and said, "Congratulations, little sister. Big brother has prepared gifts." After that, he took out an ordinary wooden box for me, and I reached out to take it. I smiled and said, "Thank you, big brother. I also have gifts for you." Shen Lingji said, "Oh. Big brother, do you have any gifts?" I smiled and said, "Yes, there are all." Shen Lingji said, "Don't give him your second brother's, I don't mind giving him an extra one." Madam Shen smiled and said, "Lingji, you're starting to be jealous. Alright, it's all Hanji's intention. Don't be too narrow-minded." I heard the sound of Shen Haoshuan walking. Shen Haoshuan said, "You said mother and Hanji were both in the front hall, and Hanji said there was a gift for me." Yukai, servant, said, "Yes, young master, I really heard you." Shen Haoshuan said, "Let's walk faster, I also have a gift for Hanji." Then we saw Shen Haoshuan appear in the hall. Later, Mrs. Shen said, "Haoshuan, I've heard that you're going to give Hanji a gift. Is the gift ready?" She shyly said, "The gift is ready. Hanji, don't dislike it, or if you have any favorite second brother, I will definitely find it for you." She then gave me the wooden box and said, "Hanji, congratulations on winning the championship." Mrs. Shen said, "Alright, prepare for lunch." After finishing lunch, I returned to my room and casually opened the gift that my elder brother and second brother had given me. It was hard to take my eyes off. My elder brother gave me a whole set of ancient precious calligraphy and painting, while my second brother gave me a jiaosha from the South China Sea. The gifts they gave me were really meant for my heart, and I don't know if they will like my return gift. Baiji was the maid pointed out to me by her mother. When she saw jiaosha, Baiji said, "Mississippi." Such a complete jiaosha can make a whole group of jiaosha. I said, Baiji, help me call a few people to help me take these things to my elder brother, second brother, mother, father. Baiji was surprised and said, Miss, what are these things? If they are valuable things, I will definitely be more careful. I said, they're just ordinary things. When they arrived on stage, they said they were gifts from me. Baiji called in several servants and carried out these 5 or 6 wooden boxes, delivering them to the rooms of Lady Shen, Master Shen, Young Master Shen, and Second Young Master Shen. Shen Haoshuan couldn't wait to open the box, and then he saw a whole strange antique item, 80% of which came from the western regions. Shen Haoshuan couldn't put it down. Shen Lingji opened it and saw a whole box of antique calligraphy and paintings. Mrs. Shen received a whole box of pearl, jade, and agate jewelry, while Mr. Shen received a whole box of books. Everyone was more or less stunned by Shen Hanji. Chapter 9. Her Identity. You are listening at novelfull.audio. I had been idle in Shen Mansion for a few days, but couldn't stay any longer. After informing my mother, I finished breakfast early and went out with curtains and Baiji. The sky is high and the clouds are light, and the streets of the capital are as lively as ever. I asked, Baiji, where is the most famous jewelry pavilion in Beijing? Baiji replied, Cui Yufang, the jewelry there is the most famous, and madam also likes to go there. I said, go to Cui Yufang. Cui Yufang is located at the intersection of 2 main roads on Dongxi Street in the capital, with an excellent geographical location. Not only are there high-ranking officials and nobles from Dongjie Street, but also wealthy merchants from Shijie Street, entering Cui Yufang. A servant asked, Sir, please come inside. Are you here to place an order or to see the goods? I replied, I also place an order to see the goods, but I don't know if I like you. Then the host came out with a smile and said objectively, please take a look first. These are all best-selling items in our store. Do you like them? I shook my head and the host said, then I'll go up to the second floor. Only I can go up to the second floor. The things on the second floor are really beyond my imagination. The jewelry design is novel, but the price is really outrageous. The cheapest pair of jade earrings costs 500 taels, and you see that I'm in the right place. I said again, Master, go and call your boss. I have a business that I want to discuss with your boss in person. The master looked at me and said, we are doing business here and do not engage in illegal transactions. I smiled lightly and said, tell your boss, one life and then another interest. Can you ask if you can do this business? When the master heard this, his face turned red and he defecated. A man in red brocade came in and smiled, saying, I don't know how to talk about objective business. I replied with a smile, of course we should sit down and talk. The man in red smiled and said, it's really interesting, then we'll sit down and talk. Then I said, I need a message, I can kill someone for you. The man said, okay. After I left, the angry voice of the man in red came from the neighboring elegant room. Why did you let her go? She said it was her who did business, and it was also her who didn't do business. I really thought Cui Yufang was a place where she came and left whenever she wanted. Another man said, she found me. The man in red said, how could a woman without the power to bind a chicken be like that? Yes, she's not a woman without the power to bind a chicken. After a while, it wasn't until the carriage of the Shen family disappeared at the end of West Street that Ouyang Jin said, she's very sensitive. I asked you to investigate her. How did you do? Shengguan Qing, the man in red, said, Shen Hanji has been weak and sickly since childhood, rarely goes out, and can't find anything else. Ouyang Jin said, there's too little news. A living person who has lived in the capital for 15 years, born to her. How could she have offended you? She's really miserable, Shengguan said with a clear smile. Ouyang Jin said coldly, don't go yet. On the way back to the Shen mansion, Baiji said, Miss, why haven't you bought anything? It's still early in the sky. Do you want to take a stroll? I then said, let's go to the rouge shop over there. As I spoke, I found the largest rouge shop and said to Beijing, Linglong Pavilion's dragon whisker pastry, dear mother of red bean pastry. Can you help me buy some? As I spoke, I entered the rouge shop and took out my jade ring to the waiter. When the waiter saw the jade ring, he knelt down and said, Master, do you have any orders? I said, gather your hands and follow my instructions. After that, I left the rouge shop. Chapter 10. Cleaning the Portal. You are listening at Novel Full.audio. The night was quiet, and a black phantom emerged from the Qiang mansion. Wearing men's clothing, I climbed over the wall and went out to Miaoyu Pavilion. I smoothly entered and saw a group of people rushing towards me. I approached Miaoyu Pavilion's mother and gestured for her to take me to a less crowded area. She took me to the side room, and I lit my jade ring. A jade ring of good quality, with a circle of red agate inlaid on it, and a strange character, SHC, faintly visible on it. This kind of jade ring is only seen by the mother of the jade ring king on EE. Wang's mother said, Young master, please come to your side. After speaking, I went to EE's room. When EE saw me, she immediately knelt down and said, Young master, it was my subordinate's incompetence that led to Linglong's defection to this day, and there is still no news. I slowly replied, Get up, I will personally take care of this matter. Go and call Furong, so that I can ask you a clear question. EE was accidentally saved by me when I went down the mountain, along with her sister. Afterwards, the two of them said they wanted to repay me, so they established an intelligence organization for me and collected official information for me. Until a year ago, communication began to gradually break down. Later, EE told me that it was her confidant Linglong who had defected. She continued to track down her whereabouts but was unsuccessful. My elder brother once told me, in the current power of the Liao dynasty, the emerging faction led by my father did not stand on any imperial power. It was the power of the empress and the eldest prince, the power of the Huguefei and the third prince, and the power of the seventh prince, who could not be underestimated. If Linglong had defected to the camp of several princes, with what she knew, it would have been troublesome. However, at that time, the sky was far away and I could not find time to clean up the door. I had intended to buy news from the black market, but they did not keep their promises and the people behind them dared not come out to meet. In that case, I would have cleaned up the door myself. Furong knelt on the ground trembling and said, Young master, please spare your life. Linglong's defected servant was not aware of it, and her time was no different from before. I slowly said, No problem, I just want you to write down the names of all the people Linglong saw in the 3 months before she defected. Furong was a maid who served Linglong and also learned to write. So, I received a list of names, and when I saw Chu Nanchen, the second son of the Minister of Personnel, I frowned slightly and slowly said, You go down first. I said again, EE, help me check the sons of officials in Beijing who are of the same age as me. EE quickly sorted them out and handed them to me. I saw the name of Chu Nanchen, the second son of the Minister of Personnel, again, and my gaze lingered for a long time. EE said, Young master, Chu Nanchen, the second son of the Minister of Personnel, is also a Sai. The Minister of Personnel, Chu Huiling, and his wife were originally a pair of Qin and Sei, but not long after his wife left, Chu Huiling married his cousin and even brought back a son who was older than Chu Nanchen. He claimed to have adopted him and became his legitimate son under the name of the new wife. I replied, I see, what about the news about his good brother? EE said, Report to the young master that the legitimate son of the Minister of Personnel, Chu Ying, is good at the south wind. I smiled and said, Interesting, let me come and meet this Chu Nanchen. I said to EE, Keep an eye on the Ministry of Personnel's Shirlang mansion these days, and inform me immediately if there is any news. EE said, Yes. Taking advantage of the darkness, I hid in the alley and quickly returned to the Qiang mansion. The next morning, after having breakfast, I went to pay my respects to Shenlingji. As soon as I entered the door, I said, "Big brother, if I come over, I'll tell you." Shenlingji smiled and said, "Just tell me, little sister." I said, "Big brother, I'm going out for a while, and everything at home needs to be taken care of by you. Please don't tell your parents about this matter, I'm afraid they'll worry." Shenlingji smiled and said, "Don't worry, go ahead and do it. If there's anything, I'll write to inform you." I then said, "Thank you, big brother." My elder brother and I had a tacit understanding. Thanks to Fija's message, we went down the mountain for the first time and returned disappointed. Not long after I used the spice my master gave me, I was surprised to receive a pigeon message from my elder brother. He told me that this was a pigeon he raised, and as long as he used his, Shenlingji, specially made spice, it could be delivered even 1,000 miles away. Since then, I have been in contact with my elder brother until at noon, before I had finished my lunch, I received a message from E. The Minister of Personnel's family will go to Baogua Temple to offer incense the next day. As I watched the letter burn, I had a strategy in mind and wrote a letter to arrange it.